All right, test 1 2 1 2. Microphone's looking good. We got desktop audio down, so it's just all right. Cool. I got tired of all the copyright strikes, so I quit playing the music during the stream. But if it really bugs you, I'm gonna go bug my favorite client, who may or may not be in one of the bands that I play music for, or used to play music on the stream. But anyway, welcome to the weekly Well Watch. This is your dude Runner. We're gonna hang out here for about an hour. Then we're gonna go head over to the Rainbow Trends Discord and hang out with the Roundtable the rest of the night. Glad you're here. We're gonna cover a bunch of stuff today. Go over the price action we've had, where it's been doom and gloom, to positivity, to China talks, to quantum breakthroughs, to one of the coolest deals we've ever seen Coinbase land with Kobe. We got a lot of charts to look at. A lot of Wyckoff stuff is forming in a lot of the alts. And we're looking at Q4 seasonality with Bitcoin. But like I said, thanks for coming. This is the weekly Whale Watch. We do this every Thursday for Rainbow Trends. And we are live. So, stream is intended for educational purposes only. It's not intended to use as financial advice. What's up, Dime, in the chat? Dime's doing very well with silver, despite the horrific pullback. But as always, if you guys have any questions on any of the stuff, definitely go check out the website, or go check out our Wikipedia, which is attached to the website, all the different tools, all the different explanations. And again, shout out to all the dudes who have helped us out, push the YouTube to over 500 followers. So if you guys want to show some support, like, comment, subscribe. The YouTube algo actually watches our chat, so blow up the chat, and we'll get going. Like I said, what's up, Dime? What's up, Ilda? And we got the guys on X as well, so shout out Nickety Bear. Unless you're on Android, because this stuff doesn't work with Android. But anyway, moving on. So, cool thing in the wild. Trader Stacks, one of our OG Rainbow Trends dudes, actually showing pictures of his setup, which is pretty cool. Way back in the day, I used to run a Battletop. Couldn't get a hold of computer parts, so I literally ran high-end gaming PCs to like multiple monitors. So I like seeing stuff like this kind of as a throwback. I'm on a desktop now, but I still run the living crap out of ThinkPads. So anyway, if you don't follow Stacks, follow him. He's a good dude, and he's funny. And he's one of the guys I keep a pulse on as well for the general sentiment. When you see him and Pep start waking up on some of the more degen stuff, I tend to pay attention if they stay locked in for more than a week. So it's pretty cool. But with the current sentiment that we have with this industry, with this market, I just want to remind you, it's alt season, but it's alt season for shorts. I saw this post and I absolutely loved it. A lot of people got wrecked with that Deathwick. I say Deathwick. It's kind of a Deathwick. Black Bitcoin didn't really do it, but the alts nuked. And we had a lot of stuff trying to go on, and I'm going to go into over some of that. But frankly, seasonality's picking back up. People are starting to get a little more bullish this week. We've had some price recoveries. Frankly, when you get those type of wicks in the markets, dude, the whales are knocked out of position. And a lot of stuff takes a while to settle out, and we have to figure out where we are. And if you guys have ever seen, I don't know, this is one of the OGs, Secrets of Crypto, and I wanted to bring it up. He hasn't posted in years, since 2024, March. I say years, it's like a year and a half ago. He's one of the OGs that kind of came up with this altcoin cycle, and it's going to be something I kind of focus on this stream today. I think this has changed a lot. Not a lot, but in general, it's one of the things we used to follow on some of the previous market cycles, like religiously and to a T. We don't really see some of these things happen anymore. Frankly, this run up to over 100K on Bitcoin. If you remember, there was really like a phase zero, and it was Solana. Solana took off before everything, then Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and everything kind of went backwards. Then we started having some weird plays with like meme coins and AI agents and all this other stuff. We saw a lot of different stuff come and go over short periods of time. But this chart, if you've ever seen people reference it, they often copy this, remove Secrets of Crypto, and then put their own spins on it or claim it as their own. This is the OG, but we haven't seen it in a long time. But definitely, if you guys want to know, that's where that stuff came from. So anyway, it's worth looking at. And essentially like what the old theory was is Bitcoin runs, chills out, Ethereum runs, chills out, the large cap alts go, and then we get into the really, really crazy low caps. Just is what it is, and it's not a rhyme or reason or a rule, but it's something to pay attention to, because a lot of people need to be attention to like what's going on, and that's like when something is running, don't get out of the way. Don't try to fight it. And it's something we kind of got to follow here. But anyway, the big thing though is we have markets shaking out from the crypto stuff, and we have a lot of TradeFi stuff as well. So I'm going to walk into the TradeFi and kind of explain like some of the ripples and stuff that we've had go through the industry. And one of the big things is it's coming up. Trump and China have this huge deal coming, and frankly, when this deal comes through, it's going to be huge, whatever. Politics aside, whatever side you like, whatever side you hate, shouldn't hate, love everybody, right? But in general, this is coming. This is going to be a stage gate that affects all markets. Constantly, Trump is saying, we're going to have ungodly tariffs, make up some numbers, 150, 155, 200, 300. They just make stuff up, right? As they go, the tariffs. They said, oh, no, I think we're going to make a deal. It's constant round table, just nuts, where they're going left, right. It's kind of a strategy that Trump uses so that there's uncertainty going into deals. I just hate it because our news cycle pays attention to it. And then you have all these algos that feed off of it. You get all these short-term price actions which just whack everything around. But it's coming soon. This deal has to... So whether or not a deal happens, either the deal will happen or the tariffs are going to roll through. That's basically it. But next Thursday, President Xi and President Trump are going to meet in person, face-to-face, and try to make something happen. This whole market took absolute crazy nukes. We had a gigantic S&P 500 nuke over this tariff stuff and all these other instances, and we went crazy low. A lot of the rainbow traders logged the living hell out of this and did really, really well. I took some 401k funds and DCA'd in around here, and I'm like, I'd have to check, but I think I'm around 27% up on those spot entries with considerable size. So very happy with that trade. I had a lot of cat powder left over in case we went really, really crazy because the news cycle was just sending this down. But we're moving up, and market is trying to make a new all-time high. But we've had some pullbacks, and it's just we're getting chopped and zoomed out. It's like, whatever, dude, chill out. People are freaking out in real life. They're looking at this stuff on low time frames, and they're going nuts. I'm pretty numb to this stuff, but these are some pretty these are some pretty fast, shocking moves. These are 15-minute candles just all over the place. So that deal's coming. We're seeing golds rip. We're seeing bonds go to crap. We're seeing the DXY fall below 100, went all the way down to like 96. I hate looking at the Dixie, but it's something to consider if all the metals are running. And the silver guys on Twitter, I say the silver guys, there's one. If they're clouting in the gold bugs, it's kind of a weird place because this is stuff we're seeing moves that we've never seen before. But we have craziness in the market. It's coming to hopefully end soon with the China deal, and then hopefully they can focus back on like a Russia peace treaty. We have good things on the horizon that we're looking forward to, so let's keep going through it. Now, the news, we had a lot of news in crypto cycle this week, so I'm going to cover some of it, and I'm going to go over the charts, show you the rainbow theory behind it, explain it, at least my take on it, which is probably wrong. And remember, this is an art channel, not to be used as financial advice. But big news today. CZ was granted a full pardon by President Trump, which is amazing. Now, I will say this. Potentially, this is a little hint at how the President Z meeting is going to go. If you don't remember, CZ is he's not from South America. This dude's Chinese and ran and built one of the biggest crypto and most successful crypto exchanges of all time. One of my favorite ones of all time still is Binance. Now, this is a good deal. This is a good thing. I think, in my opinion, I'm sure there are CZ haters out there and say he's evil and done some bad things. Sure. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I just know the one I didn't like is in jail. So SPF is locked behind bars, and I'm more than happy that that dude is there, and our CZ guy is allowed to travel about the country now. For a while, this dude would not come to the United States, so it's kind of crazy. But anyway, he's released, and we've seen an ungodly amount of 4 memes, which is well deserved. So congratulations, CZ. Now, with that being said, I mentioned FTX. Polymarket is showing that SBF has a chance of being released from jail in 2025, jumping up from 4% to 16%. So help me if they pardon SBF. This dude ruined a lot of people's lives knowingly, willingly, intentionally, and I don't want anything to do with it. It's frankly upsetting. So I'm hoping the Alameda crew stays in jail and we don't have to worry about them. And I hope to God all these people longing this saying, yes, get wrecked, because don't bet on that. Now, we're not going to look at FTT because that's obviously trash coin, but we need to seriously talk about BNB. If we're talking about, alt seasons and stuff and people wins alt season. Depending on the alt, you're in alt season. Right now, not to sound like a Wyckoff hindsight guy, which is 90%, I'd say 95% of the crypto Twitter dudes who post Wyckoff. This was reaccumulation. Shocker. This was your creek. These are your SOSs, and this thing ripped and rocked, and now it's in price discovery. BNB is over $1,100, and Coinbase listed it this month. Hell has frozen over. I still can't believe Coinbase listed it. I really can't, to be honest with you. I never thought that would have happened, but Binance is ripping. We obviously had the Deathwick stuff that played out this week. If you got shook out, I apologize. But in general, Rainbow Theory 101, we try to buy these pushes into the rev bands. We get to push into this. We get to find support. You do not get this opportunity often. And I'm going to talk about what it means to force volatility versus sitting in your hands and waiting for volatility to play out. This is one of those things where if you were waiting for it and you had your bids inside these rev bands, you would have got it. And it bounced within like the same day, 60% on a top 10 crypto coin. Dude, if you can get a 50% trade once a year, you're going to outperform just about every single trade fund in the world. Now, is this an easy thing to catch? No. Is it something that you have to sit there and babysit limit orders and hope to God something like this happens? Sure, but it does happen and people execute this. I automate a lot of trades in these rev bands where I just have orders waiting and it chases. And when the time hits, it hits. But dude, there are months where I don't get any trades. But when I do get hit, the probabilities are over like 85% that these will go up. And that's the whole thing with like rainbow trends. You're buying yellows, you're buying whites, you're touching rev bands. You're betting on a bounce. And majority of the time, you get it. So act accordingly. That's a nice wick. But regardless, BNB recovered, high time frame. We got a little pump today from the news that CZ is getting released from jail. Or not released from jail, getting a pardon. That's the news candle right there. So maybe we'll see this thing keep pumping. I honestly was shocked it didn't move that much, but to be frank, it's one of the top 10 coins, top 5 or something like that. It's doing well. It's not like it's a top 200 coin that has a lot of liquidity or not as much liquidity and can get shell shocked. But back to CZ, back to reality, what his predictions are for Bitcoin. He mirrors a thing similar to Kobe. So CZ still says Bitcoin will flip gold. Now, gold's been on a tear, right? Regardless of what gold's been doing, the thing you need to pay attention to and realize is gold is a 30, just call it, round it up. Gold is a $30 trillion asset. This is something that humans have been collecting and trading and mining for thousands of years. Bitcoin's been mined for a decade, right? But 30 trillion. Number 2 is NVIDIA, 3 is Microsoft, Apple, silver's at like 2.8. Relatively speaking, up to 5, and then there's a jump to 30, which is gold. And literally, this is Aztec gold. This is gold from Spain, it's stuff that's hundreds and hundreds of years old. 30 trillion, right? Bitcoin right now is at like 2.2 trillion, which is amazing. It's amazing. It's over 100K. It's amazing. It's over 2 trillion. I remember when it broke a trillion for the first time. Amazing stuff, right? What's more amazing is, what does this mean? If you don't know what crypto market caps are, go do the math. Go do some Grok, go do some Chat GPT. Look at how this stuff works. Really go take a look at Coin Market Cap and see like what the market caps overall on these things. But long story short, you can use some of these websites too to say, hey, what's the price of Zcash if it was as big of a market cap as Ethereum or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You can do all these simulations. They have this as well for Bitcoin and gold. So what CZ is saying is Bitcoin is going to eclipse gold in market cap. What that implies is a 13x on Bitcoin right now, which is 7-figure Bitcoin. Not only 7-figure Bitcoin, like nearly $1.5 million per Bitcoin, which is amazing. It's really amazing to think that. Now, he's not saying, is that going to happen in Q4 this year? I can tell you that's impossible this year. Is it something that could happen in 10 years? Sure. Maybe we can kind of project that, but this is definitely within your lifetime. Definitely probably within the next decade, you could pull this off. It says we're 7% there, which is fun. So Joshua McDonald on YouTube says, do you think they can even put an accurate market cap on gold? So much that is off the books. I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. They even project like what is like how much gold is left in certain mines and stuff, and I think that's a crazy calculation. But in general, maybe they're just talking about the market cap of what's tradable. People trade emails all the time saying they own gold and get a little certificate, and they never actually see the physical gold in their hands. So I don't know, but you definitely can forecast how much is mined every year and maybe get an accurate prediction from there. But regardless, 30 trillion. I think they can at least sustain it's at least that. Maybe it's more, but even then, 30 trillion is still huge. Maybe they can call it 50 trillion, but for the most part, back to what CZ's saying, he's calling that one 30 trillion. He thinks is what crypto will get to, which implies $1.5 million per Bitcoin. So if you guys can be a whole coiner, get to that goal, it's going to be awesome. And you say that's impossible, blah, blah, blah. My parents on a shoestring budget have outtraded, probably me, just buying rainbow dips for 5 years. They're deep into profits and are over whole coiners now just on a shoestring budget. So it's cool to see that stuff help them out and make them like be able to retire with less concerns of their future. But anyway, no, Fletch, he's not saying it's going to kill gold. He's saying it's going to get up here and be with it. So he's talking about 60 trillion being into that. So I think you're going to see that come out of a lot of the currencies, to be honest. But there's derivatives, stock options, who knows? Welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter, right? But in general, it's talking about a 10x, 13x. You're talking about like over 7-figure Bitcoin. Frankly, if you get to 7-figure Bitcoin, good game. Call it a win. But moving on. We've talking Binance. Let's talk Coinbase. Coinbase had 2 big wins this week. 2 big wins. This was actually hilarious. Coinbase tagging Nikita Bear. Can you fill this out and see when you have a sec? Thanks. Why post flop this week? The algorithm changed. They aren't funny according to Grok. I'm bad at my job. All the above. Frankly, my timelines are getting a little better, but dude, overall Twitter, I'm having a lot of issues with it, and I'm losing interest in posting as much as I used to be honest. But I wish it the best, but to see Coinbase do a banger like this is pretty cool. Frankly, most of the time I see Nikita talking about stuff all the time. Oh, things have been rolled out, blah, 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 blah. And I go try it and like none of it works on my Samsung stuff or my Windows PC. And then it's just like, whoops, we forgot to roll it out for Android. And it's like, dude, like it's crazy. But like he's about to start doxing all the locations of where all the Twitter accounts are from, not just crypto Twitter accounts. And like people are enraged. And they're just like, oh, this is better. We're going to do it. So I fear for Twitter because they've changed so much, and it's something we used to love, and it definitely needed some fixes and stuff, but they're drastically changing how this thing runs, and I think they're going to potentially have issues in the future. Frankly, the fact that if you're watching this on Twitter now, this took me forever to get running. Frankly, through their native option, I couldn't ever get it running right, so I had to do some third-party apps to make this even work, But with that being said, it's a reminder, if you want to actually enjoy the chat and hop on, dude, YouTube's where it's at for these, but we're still going to stream on both. But anyway, moving on. Nexus, what's up, my guy? So the other thing, Coinbase had 2 wins this week. So Ledger filing his taxes on last day of extension deadline as is proper. Kobe coming in saying small changes required, sir. So if you guys missed the news, Echo got bought by Coinbase, and the one NFT required to bring Up Only back on air for a whole season was bought for $25 million and burned by Coinbase. So basically $400 million got sent to Echo team, and Kobe's now online. Ledger's now online for 8 seasons of Up Only, and I cannot wait. I hope they don't waste them. But I'm super excited. Congratulations, Kobe. It's hard to build stuff. Most stuff fails. To build it and actually get to that stage is just awesome. And you don't get to call people lucky like that. You get mad and jealous and stuff like that. But dude, like, you build stuff, it's hard. You learn, you hate. A lot of stuff blows up. I can't ever show it, but like, if you guys actually saw how many programs I've written for like Rainbow Trends, there's probably over 2,000 failed programs I've written. Probably over 2,000. And there's just failed. And eventually you kind of find some things and it kind of strikes gold. Not that I've sold a company for $400 million, but I got something at least decent running and can appreciate it. So shout out to Kobe, because that's just cool. And he did a big long post here talking about it. And it's pretty cool and it's worth reading. I'll drop it in the chat. At least the chat for YouTube, because Twitter chat doesn't work. I wish I wasn't making that up. You can't restream into Twitter, but whatever. But if you actually go into and read the announcement that Kobe wrote, you'll find something very interesting. Crypto itself has moved a long way since we started working on Echo. I guess partially this is because of the election roll, but I feel energized by a lot of cool things being built in crypto again. Hyperliquid, Zcash, stablecoin, supercycle, and so on. Kobe is coming online and saying Zcash is something he's excited about. Absolutely mental. And it's awesome because you know your boy's a Zcash bull for all the right and all the wrong reasons. Now, Coinbase stock, not really doing so good. We're kind of diddling around in the middle. We had a great reversion band here. Sometimes Coinbase full sends into this stuff. Sometimes it just taps it. I frankly haven't really seen an entry since kind of here, and even then I didn't want to mess with it. I was waiting for these order blocks to get hit. It's not a trade for me. Low time frame dudes probably can manage this on the algorithms with Rainbow stuff, but it's just it's not for me. Dropping down to 2 hour, you get a little better clarity on the runner bot, but in general, I like being in the bands, or I like being on these order blocks, and we just never got there. We got really close. Got an RSI bottom there, an H2 runner bot bottom there, as well as an H4. We'll see how it goes. But Kobe's got a lot of good insight into products. I think he generally relates very well to the crypto Twitter market. This whole persona that is crypto Twitter, it's kind of a weird thing, this bubble that we live in and talk about this stuff all the time and log in and argue and meme on Twitter. A lot of corporations can't relate to that effectively. I think that's going to be really well, because sometimes you see like Armstrong coming in with some of the weirdest takes, and you're just like, how this is like the biggest exchange in North America, and they're talking really weird on some of the stuff they do. I think Kobe's going to be a great asset to that, because you have to realize like Kobe's working for Coinbase now directly, so this is a big deal. And that's something I'm bullish on. As much as we like talk trash about some of the blunders like Coinbase makes, in general, if you want CZ's vision of 7-figure Bitcoin, you need Coinbase to survive and do well. So keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, Kobe is under Coinbase, and there is something funny that I'm hypothesizing is going on. I don't know, but it's something it's fun to dream about. As much as I talk about Paul Grewal grilling Polak for saying the craziest things and getting in trouble with the legal department, just remember, there are 2 wolves inside you, and now at Coinbase, there are 2 wolves in Brian Armstrong's inbox, And we're going to see some really weird takes from Polak, and we're probably going to see some really cool takes from Kobe. So it's going to be really interesting to see what goes on here. The whole coining every single tweet thing is just the weirdest thing, and I don't know why they keep pushing that. I'm hoping we can get some better direction, and hopefully Armstrong will listen to Kobe. I hope to God, considering how much money he spent on Kobe to onboard him. So, but back to what Kobe is bullish on. Zcash. As much as I am known for trading Zcash, I'm scared of this thing. Absolutely scared of this. Look at the volume. Like, the volume impulses are absolutely insane. If you guys think this is, just take a guess of how big this run is. Zcash is up. This run from kind of the base of the explosion when this volume really started rolling in, we're talking like 460% on Zcash. Stuff with this much altitude, I'm not comfortable touching it. It's above the standard reversion bands, and it's pushing into the machine learning bands, and it's printing pinks. I don't ever buy up here, so I'm sidelined, and I'm sad because everyone's DMing me about Zcash, and I'm just like, guys, I hate to break it to you, like, as much as the Zcash is charting, you know what I'm really looking at? I'll cover it later, but I'm like looking at Bath and Body Works is my favorite chart right now to look at. So we're going to just go back to where the rules are made up, the points don't matter, and Runner doesn't care about tickers. I just look at chart patterns. Right now, love Zcash in general, but this is not for me. Frankly, this has a lot of altitude, because if this damn thing falls, you're talking like 80% potential, because this could set up as a BART. I don't see a BART the way it's angled and running, but I definitely think it's going to have to cool off and do some continuation. Maybe Silbert's just wilding and we just don't know it. Frankly, a lot of the other Silbert coins are mooning like crazy, like Zen, which he's the only one who pushes Zen. Zen is going crazy too. But I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, Nexus. Who could have ever seen this coming? I'm pretty sure Nexus has the lowest DCA in history on Zcash besides Silbert. The other thing he's bullish on was Hype. Hype had a gigantic liquidity event. Sorry, this is me with my old notations. You pour all this into Twitter and the new algo's like, here's 2 likes. So the actual Hype bounced 91% on that wick. So in general, you get a white candle printing into this stuff, dude. The Rainbow Trend says buy it and try to be ready. You don't get a lot of time. It's less than, this was probably 30 minutes. That's why it's worth kind of having a stink bid set up, in all honesty. That's a 90% trade if you could have caught it. Or you just kind of martingale it out, right, and drop. Just constantly have bids inside this rev band all the way to the bottom, and that way, bam, if it hits it, you get it, and your DCA is like here if you got the whole thing. So anyway, man, we're already 8:30. We gotta keep going. We're gonna keep this going fast. Try to do a lot of clips. Moving on. Big breakthroughs with Google, as is tradition with the market that is quantum computing. Could care less. Google stock has not responded to this, but frankly, it looks like they've got the chandeliers online, and they're actually doing verifiable proofs that this damn thing's 13,000 faster than standard classic supercomputers. So that's going to be interesting. And you can tell in the stock, no one cares. It's real weird. There's these gigantic proofs on, not proofs, but these proof of concepts of showing how amazing these quantum computers are, and these tech companies are pushing them forward, and then like no one cares. The stocks actually went down. I think Intel had the huge one they announced 6 months ago, and price just went down. It's like, dudes, this is actual like crazy science stuff. But with all quantum computing, we have to be a little scared, right? Because it's showing you that these quantum computers online, and on paper, these quantum computers can break out, can break encryption. Something like SHA-256, something like, crypto is actually named after. So it makes you think, are we running on borrowed time before these amazing supercomputer chandeliers start cracking crypto, and we have to ask the question, is Bitcoin actually crackable? Is it actually safe from quantum computing? And things like this makes you question it. A dormant address containing 4,000 Bitcoin, $442 million, almost half a billion, has just activated after 14.3 years, which was worth $67,000 in 2011. So it makes you curious. Are these dormant address actually some of these supercomputer engineers actually running these supercomputer quantum chips and just not tell anybody? So what is it? It could be some of these like Google devs, like, man, we got the supercomputer running. Let's go see it. It can on paper, this thing should brute force any encryption like it's nothing. So maybe all crypto goes away with supercomputers running out. Who knows? That's definitely a concern from Elon. That's definitely a concern from a lot of other people in the industry. It's something that I just don't know. I don't know. But if it's possible on paper, what they're projecting, these actual supercomputers are running. So in the lab, there could be a dude with one of these computers that could be doing this, and maybe he's grabbing 4,000 Bitcoin and moving them around. I don't know. We'll see. Now, here we go. Moving on. So let's talk bullish things. Let's get scared with that. Let's move forward. You can't make this up. The Trump administration is outperforming all hedge funds. Every investment is up at least 80%, with 2 investments nearing 150%. This does not include the soon-to-become quantum computing stocks. Trump administration is actually getting into the quantum computing and trying to push that as well, because they see it as kind of a security risk for the nation versus like China. So they want to up our capabilities in quantum chips, which is going to get really interesting, because you got to remember all the countries in the entire world are sitting on encrypted files that they've intercepted from all the other countries. They're playing spy versus spy, right? And they're sitting on them waiting for the capabilities to brute force them open with quantum computers. So like they've talked about how many like terabytes of like super secret spy stuff that like China has and Russia has, and they're going to brute force it and see all the United States secrets. Who knows? Maybe we'll see F-22s and in China. I don't know, but it's interesting. They're trying to make manufacturing better in the United States to handle a lot of the stuff that they're worried about, potential wars and moves on all these different places that manufacture the chips. They're also looking at AI, and now they're starting to look at quantum computers. So we'll see. We shall see. Now, the other thing to remember, bullish sentiment. The U.S. Federal Reserve is going to print $1.5 trillion following the next interest rate cuts. So it's going to be really interesting. On top of that, we have Wyckoff charts printing. So some bullish hopium from our guy Dime, who was here in the beginning of the stream. Probably still around, but maybe not. Just a quick reminder, Dime is the only official unendorsement of Rainbow Trends. So much love. We love Dime, we love Huck, we love Hugo. But he's posting potential Wyckoff charts on the reaccumulation side, saying this is the bullish hope. And I'm going to go into these before, because I see some Wyckoff charts printing. I don't see it everywhere, but I do see some of them, and I want to walk you through these. So he's clearly talking about Bitcoin. He's saying, in my opinion, 10 for 10, that was the spring. Last week was the test. Stay long until it no longer makes sense. Great tweet. So this is Dime's reaccumulation chart. If we zoom out, let me show you where we're at. This is the price discovery all-time high of like 110. We went way back. We covered this. It was an actual channel break, moved back up, all-time highs. Go check out all the streams. They're all archived on YouTube. We don't want to make this stream be 3 hours long. So moving forward, this is what he's talking about. He's saying that, and to be frank, I don't see it. He may be right, but I feel a little forced saying it on this, but we'll walk through and see what Dime's talking about. Because otherwise we have to assume he's talking about silver, and I don't think silver's reaccumulating right now. But if he's talking about this, he's basically lining it up like this. I need to stretch this wide, so you're not going to be able to see it all, but that's essentially what he's saying is, I can't do it because I can't move this to the left or right. I have to make this thing narrower. But he's basically saying these are your springs here. Either that one or that one is what he's saying is spring, and then this is your retest. So he's saying is this part of the trend remains, and this is what's going to happen next. So he's saying is we're going to move up the LPS, start doing blah, 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 and then run. Because basically by that time in the Wyckoff chart, phase E, that's just price discovery up only time, right? So if that's the case, that's kind of what the chart would look like. And that would take us, maybe, you don't know on time. This, I'm just drawing what looks appropriate, but time could move, it could log. Sometimes there's 2 creek jumps, even though we've only seen it once. But in general, Dime is saying you're here, right? And remember the Bitcoin cycle that we covered in the beginning of the stream, Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then the large cap alt, stuff like that, right? If he's setting up like that, that's what we're looking for. And we're looking in price discovery probably in November or December, which is aligns with Q4 seasonality on Bitcoin, which is a big thing. We want to see that. Now, the thing is, I think we need to look at this as far as like seasonality and where we're at. And I forgot to put my Mayor multiple slide in here, but no, I'm sorry. I do have the Mayor multiple slide coming. We'll talk about seasonality. So seasonality is coming. We're looking at Q4. Typically, crypto is very bullish in Q4. I have a lot of DMs that hit me and they ask, hey, Runner, what are your thoughts about bullish continuation into Q1 of 2026? And I'll go through my arguments. We haven't hit the Mayor multiple numbers yet that I like, but you guys have to remember something. The S&P is doing all-time highs. Metals are doing all-time highs. Crypto, for the most part, has been doing all-time highs. And we're under a regime that is battling with Powell. Trump's administration does not like Powell, does not like what he wants. He finally got a rate cut out of Powell, but they aren't on good terms. That being said, this current duo, even though they're not functional, maybe on a friendly level, functionally, the system in which the stock market is running, as well as the crypto markets are running, because don't lie, they're heavily influenced by the United States. This duo, as dysfunctional as they are printing all-time highs on the S&P 500. Now, you have to realize this is coming to an end. Jerome Powell is going to leave his Fed chair, the Federal Reserve, on May 15th, 2026. That's 204 days from now. So this is sooner than you think it is, but it gives you a time window. People are talking about what are the markets going to do for the rest of the year? What are the markets if they look like if they go into next year? So I'm going to draw this and show you the windows that I look at traditionally using the Mayor multiple, using the halvenings, using stock to flow, stuff like that. So I think it was May 15th. Right there. That's when Jerome Powell leaves. That's the gold market cap. So, old school cycles, old school Mayor multiple stuff we're looking at. We want to wrap this up inside this green window traditionally. That gives us alignment with the 4-year cycles to a T. But it also implies we need to wrap this up and also hit the 2.0 standard deviation on the Mayor multiple to hit the all-time highs like we have in every previous cycle. We've touched the red bands, which is the 2.0 standard deviation on the Mayor multiple. I've got Mayor multiple tutorials all over that Wikipedia on the Rainbow Trends. Go check it out. We've got a bunch of streams on it and clips on it as well. YouTube's full of the clips. Go check it out. Hit like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Or don't. Give me some suggestions on how we need to bet on hamster racing again. But regardless, the 2.0 standard deviation calls for us touching, as of right now, $206,000 per Bitcoin, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not that big of a move. But moving into 2026, if we're willing to have that conversation, and frankly, right now, guys, if we hit, well, here we go. And we'll do end of year right here. If we do this, we draw the end of 2026, or the end of 2025. Boop. Right? We'll color it a different color. That's end of year. Now, in general, the stock to flow and the 4-year halving cycles, my windows say really November 17th is the last call for us to pull this off. If that's the case, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say if you're that deep into November on your windows, I am willing to say you might as well call it end of Q4, bring us up to December 31st. Now, the discussion is for me, am I willing to be bullish past 2025 into 2026? And I don't know yet. I'm willing to entertain the thought that we get through Q4 and we keep going up. But in general, if Q4, if this is sending end of November, December, guys, I'm probably out and I'm going to start screaming on these videos to take profit, lock in, lock in, lock in. But in the event that we talk about past January 1st, what are we looking at? I'm looking at a window from January 1st to May 16th. Past Jerome Powell leaving, I'm very, very skittish. I'm not bearish, but I'm very, very skittish, and I'm going to want to lock in a lot of stuff that I've been waiting for a long time to take profit on. The reason being, this regime, these dudes, dysfunctional as they are, the duo is breaking up May 15th, 2026. And Trump is going to put somebody in here who's going to basically install 0% rates or 1% rates or something like that, something crazy, right? Dynamic changes big time. Now, people assume that's automatically go up only. I'm not so sure. Because you have to realize we're under heavy rates right now and prices are going up. So reversing that, it could be a cause of contention. Regardless, let's stay very, very frosty and look for anything parabolic. And right now, anything parabolic, dude, we got to be approaching 200,000, which is crazy to say. But that's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. So moving on. People looking at Wyckoff Ethereum charts. And someone sent this to me and I was like, dude, that's not right. Then I realized how far zoomed out they are. They're looking at a Wyckoff reaccumulation from Ash Crypto, 2 million followers. Shout out. He's looking at this on the daily. So he's basically calling it the Wyckoff reaccumulation from 2024, March of 2024 to October 2025. And I don't know. I'm not willing to talk like that. I think that's too much time. If it is, I just don't see it. I saw this as a channel walk. I don't think this is a creek, and frankly, it went so low, I'm not willing to say that. But Dime's talking Bitcoin, Ash Crypto's talking Ethereum, Runner's talking Solana. And to me, this is the one that makes the most sense. This is the most clear textbook one I've seen. You have resistance, you have support. It's 95% of the Wyckoff reaccumulation chart is like this, is to a T mapped out per the schematic above. It's not perfect. Not every Wyckoff's perfect. But if we are in the simulation where the cycles aren't in sync anymore, remember we looked at the secrets of crypto cycle where Bitcoin runs first, Ethereum runs, and then the large caps. Remember this cycle I talk about. Solana ran first, then Bitcoin this cycle. Solana ran in front of everything and ran for like 300% or something, and then Bitcoin started running. So what if it does that again? What if Solana is the first one to move? If it is, Bitcoin is right here. Bitcoin is here in the cycle, right? Solana's already on the right side of the chart and about to go into price discovery, which means Bitcoin's lagging Solana by 3 weeks, essentially, which is actually really cool. Now, in general, when I look at markets, I normally look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and I see which one is giving me the most clear signal, which one's easier to read. Right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't really giving me really easy vibes to read, but Solana is. Solana's been really easy to read on the daily. And this is, to me, I don't like calling Wyckoff reaccumulation because it's, in general, Wyckoff's hard, but reaccumulation styles of Wyckoff are harder to me. But this looks like reaccumulation a lot to me, and it matches the chart almost too clearly. And when you start drawing the support and resistance levels, a lot of this stuff is lining up. So what's that mean? Runners watching the living hell out of Solana. And if Solana takes off, goes into price discovery above like $300, it's going to give me the nod and clue to what Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to do. So liquidity wise, my good friend Crypto ISO, show this dude some love. He's an awesome fisherman bro of mine. He saw my post and was talking about, not often do you see a 3-month liquidity pocket wiped out. If we actually pull up the Rainbow Trends liquidation engine and you put these settings on the 1 hour, I just filter off the small and medium bids because I want to look at large stuff because we had a wick that locked out a lot of people. Yeah, we knocked out multi-month longs here and liquidated them like to the T. Dude, look at this. This liquidation wick is insane. The engine called the level on those 3 by 0.25%. So it's really cool. You don't see it play out all the time like that perfectly, but that's really cool. And that was what ISO was looking at as well. He's not using this tool, but he's using another liquidity tool. I tend to trust my own because I know how it's written in the back end, but to each their own. But you see the full wipeout, and that's the flush. And unfortunately, that was bulls getting wiped out, clearing out the books. And what you're seeing is ISO talking about seeing that level of flush. Basically, the whales are flushing out the bulls, flushing out the bears, and now they're going to move potentially their next big move, which is looking like it may be going up. So it's really cool. But while things are looking to go up, other things looking to go down, gold has fallen 6.3% in the biggest one-day drop since April of 2013. We are seeing some of the biggest pullbacks in gold history. Now, frankly, gold is going parabolic like we haven't seen in decades, years, millennia, call it whatever you want. But year to date, gold is outperforming Chill House. So it's really interesting to see that gold's up like 70%. This is on the biggest tradable asset in the world. It's nuts. But we are actually seeing this thing go parabolic and starting to show pullbacks. It has to pull back at some point. Does it stop and say bearish? I have no idea, but I'm just telling you, I'm not entertaining a $4,000 per ounce trade. It's just not for me. We're actually getting close to a Malley pivot there, but this thing went all the way up into the reversion bands, printed white RSI, and then she came back. And if we look at what the overall peak was, which was 43.85, it's actually come back almost 9%, which is insane. These are things we haven't seen gold do in forever. So people are really wanting to see what's going on here. Maybe this is the dam starting to break. I don't really know. But I'm going to take this point to bring up 9K saying, guess we can say au revoir, which AU is the periodic table letter for gold. So well played 9K on the dad joke. This level of dad joke I haven't seen in a very long time. So go ahead and follow 9K and wish him congratulations on the new kid that's probably coming. I've already sent my regards to him because I'm assuming baby number 2 is on the way with dad jokes like that. Well done. This was so good I got mad. But moving on, silver. Got a silver top on the H4. A lot of heavy selling if you can't tell what those are. But kind of got a channel on silver more clear. Gold was more curved going up. Silver had a channel, now it's breaking down. Let's see what the overall drop is. It's like 11%, not too much difference. This stuff isn't, for decades at a time, this stuff is not volatile. Now it's volatile, so people are really paying attention to this and also seeing what it's doing to the DXY. But anyway, from silver, we move on to the stock charts that are really catching my eye. And what is catching my eye? It's Bed Bath & Beyond. Yes, bullish on fall season, pumpkin spice lattes, all that. Frankly, look at this chart. Forget what the ticker is. We have an H4 support order block that has been in place since September of 2024. It's been swept 4 times to date, and every single time it's popped. If we are looking at TP levels, we are looking for there, and we are looking here. So I've been watching this play out in the Discord for like over a month. I think I started pinging Dime and Malifestro here in like literally a month ago. I was like, yo, check this out. It's sweeping and holding to a T on the $25 mark on this pivot, which it's respected multiple times. And while this doesn't look like a big jump, from that bottom pivot, these are 35% swings every time it's touched. And if this is the final touch, we could potentially try to lock into the upper order block, which is 66. But to be honest with you, if I can get 30 out of this, I'm out. So I've been watching this and looking at it and dropping down to lower time frames. To me, this is a very, very clear rainbow trend set up for an order block. You have a support order block. They're testing it. They're getting bought back up by bulls every single time. And this time they've spent a lot of time here, and I've been banging out some DCAs. And today it started finally popping, and we saw on the lower time frames a higher high. So she may be set to go. I'm already in position in the green because my DCA is down here. So you have very, very clear invalidation. And this is something you can easily set up and protect your butt, protect your risk, and make some profit. So like I said, if you're not part of the Discord, go join the Discord. We talk about this stuff all the time. As much as I would love to get a bunch of tweets and interactions on Twitter about my Bed Bath & Beyond positions, that's not going to happen. So, but yeah, this is support acting like support. If you turn off all this stuff, it's hard to tell what's going on. But when you add the cheat sheet, the cheat codes, you can actually see it's looking like it's waning out. And we're starting to get some buys pick up here, and the selling is dying off. So they actually sold pretty hard here, and it actually didn't really do anything. So we're looking like we can be moved into there. My little day trading account is like 40% exposed to this. So we'll be putting a stop loss here, probably in the low 25s, and calling it a day. Invalidation's real easy. If we go below this, it's over. And right now it's not. It's curving and going up. So our target is going to be here. So we can go TP here, which I drew that perfectly, and then stop loss, right? And that's how we protect our butt. And we're looking at potentially setting up a 35% trade with very, very manageable risk. So moving on, Bed Bath & Beyond. Let's check Tesla. Tesla looks bardy to me. I'm scared of Tesla. As much as I want a Cybertruck, and my wife does not, this looks bardy to me. Earnings did not go so great. Whatever. The cyber robots, maybe they come out and they're really awesome. Frankly, if I get one of those robots in my house, I'm not having it vacuum. I'm giving it a Nerf gun, and I'm having the most amazing Nerf battles in my house with that robot, and I'm just going to be playing the Terminator, dun, 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 and it's just going to be amazing. And my kids are going to be traumatized, but I'm going to have fun. But I don't buy pinks and stuff. I definitely don't buy anywhere in these reversion bands. At the same time, if Tesla wants to go stupid, don't try to short a rally, because Tesla degens or make the charts look like a crypto stock. But I definitely, guys, if you are in position here, have your plan ready in case this is a BART, right? And it BARTs kind of look like that when they're really, really cool, but usually they just kind of bleed. So keep that in mind. But yeah, watch out for the BART. Moving on. So NVIDIA is actually showing videos of launching LLMs in space. I think this is the dumbest, craziest thing to pitch in the world. We don't need this by any means. I think it's ridiculous. The scale of this is insane. We have all these open deserts where nothing lives, nothing's doing anything. Go put your solar panels out there and your LLMs and just have your greatest chat GPT ever, right? Price-wise, sky's the limit, right? Price-wise, NVIDIA's still at 182. It's going sideways. It's broken out of this channel walk, and it hasn't shown me any signs of life of continuation yet, or giving me a retest somewhere along the way. But as of right now, I want 142 on the minimum on that reversion band. Because in general, like we said, Rainbow Theory 101, you touch red bands on like yellows and whites, you get the bounces, right? That's what we're looking for. A bounce up. Time and time again. You don't see it often, but when you do, that's where trading gets really easy. So you take your opportunities and act when you see them and just be boring until you do. AMD, this was another weird one. Had a great channel walk. Malifestro famously took profit like here, and then a day or later it pulled out of the channel walk. It's gone sideways. Then I believe the Trump administration, or was it AMD? AMD might have been NVIDIA news. I think it was NVIDIA news. Skyrocketed pink candles in the reversion bands. It's not along for me yet. I'm waiting for something good, and I just don't have the setup yet. Now, if you're a low time frame degen trader, we have a lot of those dudes who trade this stuff. Go eat. If you can trade this on lower time frames and you can watch the charts all day, I can't. I'm full-time engineer. I do all the development for Rainbow Trends. I got multiple kids. I got dad life. I can't watch 15-minute candles. I normally watch like H4, which gives me two candles a day if we're talking trading TradeFi. So anyway, moving on. Back to volatility. So this was hilarious. He goes, I don't know how many people are in this trading competition, but I'm guessing 94. So apparently there's a trading competition going on right now. And the 93rd and the 94th place are down $30,000 to $40,000 total, with Luke doing 8 million in volume and 3 million in volume. So what I'm going to tell you guys is, if you force volatility, at least with like how we look at markets with like Rainbow Theory, Wyckoff, and quantitative shit, don't force volatility. I get DMs all the time, and they're like, hey, I'm looking at the chart and I'm only seeing red and greens. And I have to tell them, like, it's because it's literally you're looking at a crabbing market. If you're looking at a crabbing market, you can't force yellows and whites to get a bullish top. You can't force pinks and purples, right? You have to wait for this stuff to print. And this is the Rainbow Trends Wikipedia, so I'll drop this in the chats for you guys, if you guys don't have a way to find it. I thought I had the Twitter one up. I'll put it up. Hold on 1 second. Price action. Whatever. You guys can find it on the Wikipedia. Twitter chat is weird, but anyway, you have to wait for these whites and yellows to print. You have to wait for these big whales to exhaust before you get the big moves. That's part of it. If you're trying to force these things in this chop, you're going to get eaten alive, and you're going to do $8 million worth of volume on a $15,000 pot, and you're going to get destroyed. Be boring until it's time to act, and when it's time to act, hit it hard. Get your stuff ready, get your stuff going, and then you can hit it hard. This type of stuff's not for me. It's choppy, choppy, choppy. I don't like messing with it. I like looking for extreme volatility, and that's when I get to act, and that's when that stuff hits. So much love to Luke, much love to Rasmer, right? I don't know these dudes, but just in general, what I'm saying is there are times when there's volatility and there's times when there's not, and people want to force the volatility, crank up all the colors and do all this stuff and force it. And the guys who are really good at scalping and stuff, they and spend the time, they can figure it out. But in general, wait for this stuff to print. I mean, honestly, that's 100% move on hype. There's your volatility, right? You get yellow and white candles. That is June of 2025. That is August of 2025. That is September of 2025. And then this was October. So, like, you're waiting months. If you're trying to force millions of dollars in volume on these little moves and stuff like that, you're going to have a very, very hard time. When you're in the middle of this stuff and you're in the basic colors, the reversions are harder to catch. The tops and the bottoms are harder to see, right? But when you get it, take it. Look for those whites, look for those yellows. It's emotional as hell to actually long these, because every time you're here, crypto Twitter is crying. Frankly, when you see these, crypto Twitter is really, really crying. And then up here, this is when they're bullish and they want to buy. You got to be like the whales. You got to follow these whales and do the opposite. It's just like Costanza. It's like, if all your instincts are wrong, then the opposite should be right. So do the opposite. Buy pain, sell euphoria over and over again. That's what these whales do, and that's how they eat all these people alive. So don't force it. Wait for your volatility. Wait for these extreme colors. Your pinks, your whites, your purples and yellows. All of these 4 candles are kind of just intermediary to me. I wait for the big boy moves, and then we go from there. So anyway, good example I want to show you. ENA wick down 10% in 2 minutes. Gigantic liquidations on hype. And I want to show you this. ENA. Actually, let me show you that. So check this out. This is how this split volume tool is really, really cool. I didn't plan this, but if you'll notice, that candle is down. That volume is buys. So what happened was the market completely got scared, shit the bed, blew out. This move happened in minutes. 77% move on ENA in like 10, 20 minutes, right? The whales actually bought this candle hard while the rest of the market died off. So keep that in mind. This is living proof in the code. What I'm saying, like, the whales buy pain and they sell euphoria. The whales loaded up on that candle. Do you see? Let me know in the chat. We can look at like lower time frames and you'll see it too. The scales are going to get weird because I'm at lower time frames, so give me a second. But this tool shows you the buys on the top, sells on the bottom. It has to do some algorithms to kind of figure that out, but in general, it's pretty damn accurate. That is people panic selling, and those are the whales buying the living hell out of it. And they were rewarded with spot gains, let alone leveraged. 234% move up. That is a pink RSI candle, the highest color pink on the most volatile white wick, white candle I've got past the bands. Like, if this is not legit going to zero like Luna way back in the day, you're looking at crazy gains, and this is where you can pay attention and do really, really well. Be frosty. This stuff is super, super dramatic. I never recommend leverage, and especially if you start trying to DCA into this on leverage that's like a 10x, even these little small wiggles, they can liquidate you because these little moves are 50%, 20, 30%. They can really wreck your positions, and you can get liquidated while trying to long this. Because if you look at this like really, really low time frame, we're going to wrap this up soon, and we'll head to the Discord. Let me pull it back on minute and look over to the left. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at ridiculousness. Come on. You get far into these streams and trading views start slowing down. Come on. Show me the nuke. There it is. So check a look at this. So be very, very careful. This type of stuff, I love just throwing spot at it, and I can make really, really big gains, and no one's going to touch me spot. But these goes crazy. Wicks a lot of people out. But yeah, like I said, go hard, figure it out, get your system, and bite when it hits. When you have your plan together, don't hesitate, because you had 3 minutes to catch that. 3 minutes. If you weren't stink bidding it, you had to be really quick to catch it. So, but anyway, if you guys can, like, comment, subscribe. We're going to go head over to the Rainbow Trends Discord. I got to switch computers. So guys in the Discord that are there, give me a minute. I have to, like I said, I've got to switch computers, but I'll drop the link in the chat. Definitely go check us out there, and I'll see you guys there. If you guys want to ask me questions directly, you guys want to show me your charts, you want to ask the other OGs, that's what the Thursday onboarding sessions are in the Rainbow Trends Discord. And as always, if you have any questions, check us out on our website or shoot me a DM. Much love. I'll see you guys next week.